joy to the world. Amber Heard lost.
Woohoo!
Johnny Depp has won.
I will tell you, that is some of the craziest shit I've ever seen. And I don't know if it's like, I've watched a lot of Judge Judy and shit growing up. Like my grandma used to love that judge shit. And I watched a lot of divorce court. But to watch rich and famous people in a situation like that was very, very strange to me.
It was super entertaining at the same time, too.
This bitch shat. I don't want to call her a bitch.
Yeah.
This person shat in his bed.
Yeah, bro. Crazy. She is legitimately insane.
$15 million she has to pay, bro.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
Well, and that's like for her, it's like probably it's a lot, but like not a lot compared to how much it would be for us.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think. 15 million?
That's
like
a lot of money.
Fuck.
When I don't even think Johnny, he clearly didn't do it for the money. It was clearly to like clear his name. Because she was saying some horrendous stuff, bro. At one point, she was saying that he like raped her with a whiskey bottle.
Oh, wow.
And then he was saying stuff like, I don't want to say too much because like I'll try to like dance around it because I don't want you to get like censored. But like he was saying like, sorry, she was saying, we were in a closet in the hotel room and he shoved his fingers up inside and was moving me around like a puppet and was like saying like this outland, like he punched me so many times that I blacked out and I didn't even know what happened. And like saying all this horrendous stuff that like if some person actually did this, like they're like a monster of a human being. But all of it was a lie. She lied the entire time, fake cried. Like,
so I didn't watch too much of the trial, but could you tell that she was lying type thing?
It was,
she's an actress, right? So obviously it's like
a horrible actress, bro. If that was that, because clearly she was trying to act and it was not working. It was like so bad. Like, so this is kind of like how she was like doing it. Like, right. She'd be like, and so the jury's over here. She was looking at the jury like the whole time. He was assaulting me. And like making these like super just like over exaggerated faces. And like the whole time, like she was like trying to fake cry. She was like, he just did this, but like no tears. Like, but it was so obvious. Like she was like changing her story so much. And there was like this whole thing like that was like pretty popping in terms of like social sharing where she was like saying that she donated money that she was supposed to donate. Right. Cause like when they got divorced, she was like, I don't even care about the money. I am going to donate all of it to the ACLU because it's not about money for me. And she was supposed to donate some like huge, insane amount of money and didn't end up donating like barely anything at all.
Oh, wow.
But was claiming she donated it all. And then, so the lawyer was like, you haven't donated any of the money. Have you, Miss Heard? And then Amber Heard was like, yes, I pledged all of the money. I pledged. So you didn't, but no, you haven't donated any money. No, I pledged all of the money and was like trying to say
so
that,
it's more you're saying you're going to do it.
Yeah. And she was like,
okay.
she was like going back to the lawyer being like, pledged and donated are the same thing. It's like, no, they're not. Like, that's not the same thing. Like,
shit.
Yeah. So like she was like lying. It was like insane. I'm so happy she lost though.
I was talking to a couple of my coworkers about it and they're like, dude, she did worse things than shit in his bed. And I'm like, what the fuck is worse than that?
Well,
and
so,
she's like, he cut off his fucking finger.
Yeah, she threw it was like a vodka handle at him, and his hand was on like a table, and the bottle hit his hand and like severed his finger.
Oh,
yeah, and then like she hit him and like gave him hella black eyes all the time. Like she was like actually physically abusive to him, which is the crazy part because she's trying to claim that she's the victim.
Yeah,
but
okay, so neither of us, are abusive men, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to think of at what point do you like
snap?
Not snap, right? Because I think snapping is like killing someone and like really hurting them.
Yeah.
When do you defend yourself though? As far as like from someone hurting you, like attacking you type thing.
Well, I don't think you can. And that's like the effed up part is like you can't. And like that's one of the parts, like they played hella audio tapes and it sounded like every time it got violent, like Johnny would like remove himself from the situation, which would piss her off even more.
Yeah.
But like that's all you really can do because imagine that. And here's the thing about the trial. If the jury decided that there was ever a single time that Johnny was physically or mentally abusive to Amber Heard, she would have won. So she wasn't able to prove that one single time he was physically abusive. So that means she could have potentially beat him up 365 days in a row, like horribly.
But if he did one thing.
You know, so it's like you really have
Shit.
to like stack your cards.
Okay. Now let me ask you this. So was this a divorce court situation or was this like a civil suit type
This
thing?
one?
Yeah.
This was civil suit.
Okay. So he sued her ass for $100 million.
Yeah, he sued her for defamation.
Oh, because he didn't get to do Pirates of the Caribbean, all this type
because
of...
she came out, she worked with, I think it was the Washington Post or some major headline. I think it was the Washington Post.
Oh, wow.
And essentially wrote what they call op-ed. And the title of the op-ed was like essentially along the lines of my story of surviving physical abuse or something like that. And she never explicitly said Johnny Depp, but she said, I learned firsthand the culture's wrath of when you speak out against physical abuse, the power of the men protecting other men, and was like trying to claim all this shit. But she did it right before her Aquaman release, right? Her secondary role in Aquaman. She like released all this stuff. And then on top of that, like when she was so effed up, bro. Like, so when she filed for divorce, Johnny's mom had just passed away. And then he was also on a like 2-week trip in Australia, and they essentially served him the divorce papers to show up to court. Like they sent it to him like the day before he was supposed to show up in court, knowing he was in Australia. So there was no chance he could make it to the divorce court.
Oh, wow.
And then on top of that, she alerted TMZ of her going to divorce court, and essentially someone on her team alerted them and essentially said, yeah, she's going to have a black eye on the right side of her, on her face. Make sure to capture a photo of that. And like, so like, cause then a TMZ guy actually testified in court and was like, yeah, someone like was explaining how it all works and essentially said that someone on her team must have alerted them. And she was trying to claim that she did not do any of that and was like ignorant to the whole thing.
That's so conniving, bro.
Even after she lost, she was still saying, this is a horrible loss for domestic.
Women,
yeah,
bro. She put it on the whole gender of women.
Insane.
Saying, bro, that was wild, dude.
Yeah. Well, and I'm so happy because I think this is like, not only is it like super freaking entertaining, but I think from the standpoint of like the Me Too movement in general, right? One thing that has kind of always bothered me is I've seen stories in the past of like a successful high school or football player who just got like college, ride to play football, and like his life is about to change. And then like some girl who essentially is upset that they like slept together or something. This specific story, she essentially said that he raped her. Yeah. And then they went to court and it was found that she literally like essentially said like, yeah, I lied. So he was cleared, but they still canceled everything.
Ruined his career.
People still look at him like a rapist, and like his life is over, even though she came out and said.
The fucked up part is you can't sue these women or these people that do these allegations, right? Yeah. Like if you fuck over someone's career, and you should be able to sue them for one, defamation of character, and two, for the amount of money you might have lost dealing with this bullshit. Like that's not fair.
Well, and that's exactly what Johnny did. But I don't know if it's just because it was like publicized in an article on the Washington Post is how they essentially have proof, because you have to have proof of like defamation, which was like the most difficult part for them. But like I think it was very easy for them to prove that Amber Heard is insane.
So there's a football player kind of going through something similar right now. His name is Deshawn Watson, and great football player. Love him. You know, I wish he was on the Raiders type thing. But if there's smoke, there's fire, right?
Yeah.
So he had 22 women accuse him of, he would go to a massage parlor, get a happy ending, and then supposedly he would make these women feel uncomfortable, right? Like they didn't want to do what he had them do. Yeah. And I don't think all 23 women now are telling the truth, right? Yeah. Because there's one woman that just came out yesterday saying, after I watched this HBO special, it made me feel like I had to stand up for myself and say something about what happened with my experience with this guy. And I'm thinking, this shit has been going on for 2 years now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, at what point do you, like, I don't know. And these are all civil suits, right? No one's trying to press charges. No one wants this guy to be fucking thrown under jail. Yeah. What they want is money.
Which is, I think that's a big root for a lot of the stuff. And I think that's something that, like, is a big part of, like, any type of, I think in any successful person's And I'll call it like it is. Any successful man's kind of like, if they're becoming successful, I think like in the back of their mind, like, I know I kind of think about this at times, which is kind of scary. It's like, who knows? Like any of these chicks that I might have hit up through Tinder,
Yeah, man.
they could just out of nowhere just decide, be like, oh, he's popping off. I'm gonna get some money, and then like, you know, just make some shit up,
Yeah.
and then, you know, next thing you know, your whole career's over.
So I remember my mom telling me to stay away from a certain type of chick growing up, right? And I was like, you know, it is what it is. This is where I go to high school at. This is the type of girls that are around. And I remember I was, you know, with the girl once, and she told me to hurt her. Like, she was like, I want you to hurt me. Like,
Oh, man.
And I'm like, whoa, like, I don't want to hurt you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's fun to pull your hair, do that, all type of shit. But like, I don't want to physically hurt you. Like, and we didn't hook up after that. And I was like, this is the weirdest shit ever. And I know people are into different things. I totally understand it.
Yeah.
But like, for me to like physically hurt a woman during a intimate moment, I thought was very
wrong.
And it just made me think about what my mom always told me. Like, you can be put in a situation like this, and the next thing you know, your whole life's over because a person felt a certain type of way, or they had a bruise and their mom asked them what the fuck happened. And the next thing you know, you're fucked.
Yeah. Well, I think that, again, that's kind of the cool thing about this trial, and I think what it meant in a bigger picture. And like Johnny Depp even released this in his like kind of, I don't want to say victory speech, but essentially what it was. He said that this is a huge moment. Essentially, I'm going to butcher it, but this is a huge moment this is a huge moment for justice and for the truth. And he hopes that moving forward, there will be a huge return of innocent and proven guilty within the public eye and within the media. Because I think that's the truth. Like, it's always been innocent until proven guilty in the court. But the media
is guilty until proven innocent.
Exactly, which is super backwards. And the crazy thing about this whole Amber Heard thing, too, is since she came out claiming physical abuse, not one, and this is what the lawyer said, this is Me Too without the Me Too, because no one came forward to say Me Too. It was only Amber just trying to claim that Johnny Depp is this horrible monster. Yeah. But like all of these other people that Johnny Depp has been with are like, no, Johnny's like the sweetest person in the world. And like, he never hurt me. And like, he was just amazing. And like, he had his like exes testify and stuff saying he was like awesome, which is like saying something, you know?
I mean, everyone has their demons, right? I know he was an alcoholic. I know he's famous. They all do blow and shit like that. Yeah, dude, crazy. Yeah. I've never had a girl shit in my bed. I've never had a girl poop in my bed before.
For real.
Ever.
Well,
what's the craziest thing a girl's ever done at your house?
So this one time, it was at my old apartment. I picked up this girl, and I brought her over to the apartment, and we were like kicking it, and like I think she started like rolling a blunt or something. She's like, "Can I use the bathroom?" I was like, "Yeah, of course, go ahead." And then like a couple minutes go by, whatever, and then she comes back out, and she's like, "I just threw up." And I was like, "What?" I was like, "Are you okay?" She's like, "Can you just take me home?" And like I took her home. Yeah. And then like I was driving back. I was like, that was fucking weird. And like she hit me up a couple days later, and like we kicked it again. But like even the second time we kicked it, I was like, this is strange. Yeah, it was like super weird. Like, yeah, I don't know if she was like on something. I think she like had like a like on a pill or something that like was like. I mean, that's one thing that popped up. Yeah. Yeah, man.
I'm trying to think of some crazy moments I've had. I had a girl I broke up with come to my house. I open the door and she pushes in my door and start grabbing all the clothes I have in my closet. Right? And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I have my uncle there too. My uncle could testify to this. So I'm like, looking at my uncle like, bro, like, so I grab my clothes from her. Yeah. And I like snatch them out of her hand. And I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, oh, I'm going to tell them you hit me. I'm like, whoa. Yeah. Like, first of all, my uncle was right here. Yeah. Why would you tell them that I hit you? Yeah. So then she runs out, goes to my car, and fucking starts keying my car, bro. Keying my car. And I got it on video. So I'm like, you're an idiot. Yeah. But shit like that can get toxic, man. Like, that's when you kind of know, like, you know, there's some great parts in the relationship. We have a lot of fun together, but maybe we should just have fun together. Like, we should not be serious because that's crazy.
Well, there's like a lot of people out there who like, you know, just like they're not, I don't know. I was actually talking to my mom about this, more so a bigger picture, not even around like relationships, but the idea of, I call it social pruning. right?
Social
so like
pruning.
So it's like, it's like a hedge. When it gets overgrown, you kind of prune it.
Okay.
So my whole idea behind it is like let's say like public school.
Mm-hmm.
You go to public school, and if you do something hella out of pocket, or like let's say like if I was, like in high school or middle school, and I went up to a girl, and I was like you're a stupid bitch, and I don't like your haircut. Most likely, people in the vicinity are gonna be like, "Whoa, dude, that's not cool.
Yeah.
Like you can't do that." And then like that prunes me a little bit and teaches me and to not that's not socially acceptable. And like let's say again, I go to school, and like in the middle of the class, I'm like say something like hella racist.
Yeah.
It's like people are gonna be like, "Dude, you can't do that. That's not cool." Prunes me a little bit, and it kind of like keeps you within like, and it teaches you what is like socially acceptable.
Yeah.
In a certain sense. And
a lot of people are just guarded from that though, right?
yeah, and
Like
they don't get pruned.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So like I think that's like a big thing that like happens to a lot of people. Is like you said, they're guarded, they're overly protected, and like they don't learn. Again, people will probably like try to kill me for this, but like this kind of like social pruning is like almost kind of similar to the idea of bullying in a certain sense.
Yeah, man.
It's like, like I'm kind of happy that like my friends bullied me in a certain sense, right? Not in like the traditional sense, but like kind of like if I did some weird shit, I want to know if I'm doing weird shit.
Yeah.
Because
Call me out on it.
Yeah, because it's gonna help like form me into a better man, in the future. And like, so like all the hardship you go through, it kind of like forms you a little bit. Like,
so I was talking to my assistant manager at work about this the other day, and he's telling me, there was no school shootings back when we were growing up because not everyone got bullied. It wasn't like just one kid got bullied.
Yeah.
Everyone got shit talked to them.
Yeah.
Everyone fucking got their just due. You did something stupid. You came with some fucked up shoes. You had a fucked up haircut.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you had a fucked up fit. Everyone got it.
Yeah.
Right. And not saying bullying is okay. You know what I mean? I'm trying to think of a moment where like I really got bullied. Like I can't think of one.
Yeah.
And I can't think of a moment where I ever like bullied someone.
Yeah.
But I was watching Stranger Things, and the main character, Elle, is going through a situation where she's getting bullied, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, if that ever happened anywhere I was at or anywhere around, any of my friends were at, we would have said something.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like no one's just going to let someone fucking get a milkshake thrown in their face or like pushed down to the ground or, I just feel like obviously it's TV and it's Hollywood.
Yeah.
It's over exaggerated, but like to an extent, right? Motherfucker gonna tell you if you got a fucked up haircut or you got some ugly ass shoes.
Yeah.
And it somewhat builds character because everyone gets that shit.
Yeah.
Well, so that social pruning I think is very, very important.
Yeah.
And I think it's a necessity to grow in life, right? Like you got to be able to kind of grow that thick armor, that thick skin, and be able to take criticism and all that type of shit.
Oh, I know what scene you're talking about when she got the milkshake thrown on her.
Yeah, that
like
shit.
I was thinking the same shit, man. Like, there's no way
Bro.
that with everybody, all the people in there,
They
and even the
circle
guy playing the
around you.
music, no way.
You know, like it's so far fetched. Where like I love the show, but I'm like,
yeah,
this is dumb.
But that's like, in a certain sense, there's a lot of people who have that mentality, where they think that shit. Like, and again, we could be totally ignorant right now. Who knows? That shit could happen, but I fucking highly doubt it. But like a lot of people believe that's like that something will happen to them. And this is actually an interesting thing I was reading in one of the books. It's the whole idea of like, a lot of people are so attached to their problems that if I essentially say it's like, hey, that's not like, that's nothing to worry about. Their problem has become their identity so much that you're like making them feel like they're not like a person in a certain sense. So even like, so people get like very attached to things that happen in their life. So I feel like in a certain sense, like let's say someone gets like slightly bullied.
Yeah.
They see a scene like that in Stranger Things and they're like, that's me. That's what happened to me. And like they over exaggerate it because that's what gives them, purpose. There was a show called Love is Blind.
Oh my God.
I was watching, you seen it? Yeah, I was watching the second season.
So I had someone I was dating try to fucking make me watch the show. And I'm just like, one, this shit's not real.
Yeah.
And two, it's like, bro, when are you in these scenarios where like this type of shit's happening in real life?
Yeah.
But it is a very entertaining show. Like I call myself like kind of like, I'm on Twitch looking at some shit, but I'm like, damn, this is kind of interesting.
Yeah. There's a couple scenes where it's like, oh, that's crazy. But there's this guy in season 2. It's what is his name?
Explain the premise of the show, because I think, right, it's you fall in love with a motherfucker who you've never seen before.
Yeah, so essentially there's like, let's say, I don't know the exact number, but let's say there's 10 guys and 10 girls. There's like this weird building where there's like two sides, and then there's these like meeting chambers is what I'll call them in the middle. And the guys are separated from the girls, and they have like their own communal things, and the guys can chat and the girls can chat. But then in the middle, it's these little communal meeting rooms, but it's like two circles kind of paired together. And then in the middle of the circle, there's a wall, like a wall you can't see through with like some color on it or whatever. And essentially the whole premise is these people go into the room, a guy and a girl, and they talk to each other without ever seeing each other. And then, so they go and kind of do speed dating without ever seeing each other. And then they're supposed to essentially propose to each other without ever meeting. And then after they propose, without ever physically meeting. And after proposing, they finally meet. And then they go through the process of like, I think it's like 4 weeks. They meet each other's family and friends and then get married if they decide to at the altar.
How hard? One, right? I think I met your brother once. This motherfucker would clown the shit out of you.
Oh, yeah.
If you told him you did some shit like that.
Oh, yeah, bro. There's no way. And that's the thing. It's like, I get the concept in a certain sense, but like physical appearance, it does matter.
It matters, man.
It's like an
unfortunately
inherent thing.
I don't even want to say unfortunately. It's just more like human nature almost.
That's nature. It's natural. It's literally human nature. Like you said, it's like that's a part of our design.
Like I think about like animals, right? Like
peacocks
the peacock.
and shit. Yep.
Fuck, dude. We said it at the same time.
Yep.
Fucking peacocks, right? They got to show how beautiful they are to attract that mate, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, man, I don't fucking know.
Well, and that's like nature's version of pruning. In a certain sense, it's like the superior. I don't want to say the superior, but like certain traits live on because it's like, you know, the survival of the fittest in a certain sense.
Yeah.
You know, but like, again, not to diminish the whole idea of like, oh, well, love is bigger than, like a huge portion of love is much
connection,
greater than
communication,
physical attraction.
Yeah, for sure. All that shit. The way you vibe with people.
Yeah.
Interests, social interests, like hobbies, all that.
But to completely ignore the physical side is just like, come on, bro.
I think it's dumb. Because then, right, I've seen, right, where like a girl like on that show, now that I think about it, you know, the girl fucking says yes to the guy, and then she's like, oh my God, he's fucking short as shit.
Yeah, yeah.
And next thing you know, she doesn't want to be with him anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he's short. It's like.
Yeah. Well, no, but it's kind of round back to this guy. I forget his name. But if you've seen season 2, you'll know who I'm talking about right away. It's this. He's an African-American dude. And while he's in the pods, he seems pretty chill. But then like at one point he brings up that he in the past has also dated men. So essentially he's like bisexual or whatever, relationship fluid, whatever you want to call it.
So he told the girl this?
No, he didn't. When they're in the pod, he didn't mention it at all. And then started to develop a relationship with this girl. But the funny thing is, right, the idea of like, okay, like you're bisexual, cool, whatever. It's not, it's not that crazy in today's society. But he was inflating it so much that it was like in his mind, he's like, if I tell her, she's going to freak out because people don't accept it. And was like developing this whole story in his mind that like once he tells her this, it's over. So then like they proposed, they got engaged, they met, still hasn't mentioned it. And then like a couple days into their like whatever honeymoon thingy, before they even get married, they're like in Mexico. He's like, I need to bring it up. And he brings it up and he does it. But instead of just being like, hey, like I used to date men, I'm bi or whatever, fluid, whatever you want to call it. He's like, I have to tell you something. And I'm really afraid that it's just going to destroy our relationship. And she's like, no, it's fine. You can tell me anything. He's like, no, you don't understand. This is huge. This is big.
He made it super dramatic.
Super dramatic, right? It was this dude's whole identity. Damn. So then when he finally just spits it out and says like, I used to date other men, at first she's kind of like, oh, well, like you should have told me that like when we were in the pods, like not that it like makes a big difference. And she started to totally kind of like be like, oh, it's not like, that's not that bad. Like we can work through this. Yeah. And he's like, no, you just don't understand. And just kept making it bigger. Like she's trying to be like, no, it's chill. Like,
so
don't
maybe
worry.
He really likes dudes.
And was trying to get out of it.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it has to be bigger than that. Like, bro, she just told you she was cool with it. Like, what the fuck?
Exactly. But, like, and that's kind of goes back to what I was saying, though. It's like for him, he was so invested in that problem that when someone essentially said, oh, that's not a big problem. Don't worry about it. Don't sweat it. He's like, what? And it just kept blowing up, like to the point
Yeah.
where like he threw his hat and like they got in a fat argument and like threw the ring in the pool and was like popping off and like called. He was like, that's why I don't fuck with bitches like you. And she was like, excuse me? And like rightfully so, threw her drink in his face. I was like, hell yeah.
Great TV.
Yeah, but it's like, it was like so crazy to me because he kept talking about it. Like, I don't know if she's going to be able to handle it. And then like while he was like, it's like, because people do that, you know? It's like.
I mean, yeah, dude, that's fucking crazy. My thing is more, you're on this show, Love is Blind, right? You should just be upfront about, you know, what you're trying to at least hide or be blind about with this person. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, it's like that's the whole point of the show is to like, you know, tell them that stuff because it's blind. It's like, who cares?
Yeah.
And like at the end of the day, I mean, I'm not a female, so I don't know what it is from a female perspective to hear that a guy is bisexual. But like if a girl told me that like at one point she dated other girls, like
Well, I mean, so I've dated a girl who was bi before, right? And it was more like, I think it's more you think about, damn, I don't just got to worry about dudes now. Yeah. I got to worry about girls too.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably,
I can see that.
You know, the thought process behind it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I was down with it. Like, fuck, if you want to invite a girl over, let's fucking do it. I mean, I'm down, but yeah, man.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, it was wild though. That show, the whole premise is kind of, and like majority of the relationships didn't work out, obviously.
Yeah. I think when I watched it with the person I was dating at the time, I think one relationship worked out.
Mm-hmm.
And I was still like, this shit's not going to last.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way you're going to just fucking fall in love with someone without seeing them.
Exactly. It really doesn't make sense. But I mean, it does, like, I think it does stress an important point that, like, you know, like, it is a lot more important than physical because, like, you could probably, I mean, it all plays into it, but I think the mental aspect is extremely important. Like, if you can't communicate and you can't, like, match up on that mental, it's just not going to work.
Yeah, no, I agree. Shit, man. I get irritated so easily.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just, when I think about all the relationships I've been in, like growing up, right? Like, I used to think it was weird when, like, my friends' parents would be like, oh, they sleep in different rooms.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, bro. It's like, that's the greatest idea ever.
Yeah, for real, huh?
Fuck, bro. Are you telling me I get to sleep by myself and spread out and kick my legs and fucking fart in bed and do all this weird shit?
Not
like,
have to wake up when the other person wakes up.
Dude, all that shit.
Yeah, 'cause I'm a hella light sleeper, so that's for sure me. It's like any like thing, I'm just like awake, you know?
And then my thing is just more like, you know, you have hobbies that you want to do in the morning. Like, I got into this routine where I was going to the gym in the morning at like 7 a.m. Then it becomes like a whole thing of, you know, why are you going to the gym so early? Like, we could be cuddling in bed. And I'm like, well, fuck, I'm trying to be better. Like,
I'm trying to level up.
You know, I'm trying to get better at something. And then it's like, you got to have that give and take in a relationship, obviously.
Yeah.
And I think a big part of it was me not being ready to, like, I guess, compromise as far as my time and the things that I really wanted to do, because I feel like I was doing a lot of things that that person wanted to do. And it was just like, well, fuck, what about what I want to do type thing. So
it has to be a two-way street. There has to be compromises on both sides for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could fucking, I don't know, like, just be like, oh, well, I'm ready to see you right now. Yeah, that's fucked up to say, but like, you know what I mean? Just have an on-call, like, oh, yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah, I think a big part of it too kind of comes down to like if there was more time in the day.
Yeah, that
you know what I mean? The fact that like, you know, you work, everyone kind of traditionally works like what is it? I don't even know how people 8-hour days is that
8-hour days.
Yeah, 8-hour days. It's like that's 8 hours of your day. Like you essentially wake up like 15 minutes together, 30 minutes together, and then you get home.
I got like fucking, you know, 20 employees here, 10 employees here, and I'm in Berkeley and in San Francisco. And then I got my hobbies that I want to do, and I got my friends, and I got a girl, and then I got my mom and my dad and my sisters, plus my nieces, and it's like, then I'm a Raider fan, and then I'm a fucking Warrior fan. It's like, fuck, then I like to, you know, go out with my friends sometimes. I like to hit a joint. Like, whoa.
That's a lot.
How do you deal with everything?
Yeah, for real. I think that's why a lot of people, when they have like similar hobbies that line up, it makes sense.
But then, dude, like, you know, what about when you and your girl have the same hobby, bro? You can't fucking step away from.
Yeah, you can't get a break.
Can't get a break, man. That shit is tough, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's important in a relationship to have different hobbies. Like, I need to be able to do my thing, like something I really like and I'm somewhat passionate about. outside of you tagging along and feeling like you're not invited if I don't invite you type thing.
Yeah.
Like I think that shit bothers me a lot too.
Yeah. See that. That's interesting. I was talking to someone about the idea of like, not the idea of marriage, but like, getting married in general. And like when to do it and et cetera. And I was like thinking about it. It's like, I'll put my shit out there. Like my parents like were divorced, and then long story short, I don't know any married people that haven't either ended up divorced or at one point been divorced or some type of, infidelity, I guess you call it technically, or cheating on each other within it. I don't know any. And then even like, I was thinking about it too. It's like in the past, it's like there was a big portion of people before like the internet was a thing, like it would end up in divorce, but it would take a long, long time. I feel like now that the internet is a thing, it's so much faster. It's like people will get married and then get divorced in like 6 months to a year.
Dude, I mean, there's people that take bets on people's relationships and asking how long they'll be together.
Yeah.
Like my parents have been together since they were, I want to say 16.
Wow.
But of course, there's been rocky roads, right?
Yeah.
Like I remember being younger, they're getting into arguments. My dad moved to Vegas.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? There was a whole thing. Like I remember that shit.
Yeah.
So like, if you're gonna be together that long, shit fucking happens. Like I talked about on an episode a long time ago. My grandma literally shot my grandpa.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Like 5 times.
Yeah.
Not like 5 different times. But like she fucking was going to kill this motherfucker.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, and then they still were together.
Yeah, that's wild.
So it's like, love is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Being in a relationship is crazy.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this. If a chick shoots me,
game over, bro.
It's over. Dude, if a girl slaps me, I'm like, whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Like, I've never been in a relationship where I've ever put my hands on a girl or she's ever put her hands on me.
Yeah.
But I think if it ever gets to that point, one, I'm going to call my sister.
Yeah.
One of my sisters. They're going to have to beat your ass for one. And then for two, we're just never going to talk again. Like,
yeah. Well, I think when it like gets to that point, it shows like a severe imbalance in like emotional discipline in a certain sense.
Yeah.
It's like everyone's entitled to their emotions, everyone's entitled to their feelings, but if you let it get to the point where it is controlling your reactions and you're not able to like control yourself, like then that's a problem. And I think that's like when people start slapping each other, like that's just not cool.
No, that's wild.
Yeah.
Shout out Johnny Depp.
Yeah, for real, you made it. You did it. That's a big someone. I seen someone on I think it was Cam Slan. He said this should be a holiday for men today or something. It's important though, man. Like it really is. Like it's a big pivotal. I think it shows you that like people are kind of like fed up with a lot of bullshit. There's a lot of stuff going on in like media in general and like how a lot of narratives are being played, like no matter what, like it could be inflation, how that's being played out. It could be like the war in Ukraine, how that's being talked about. It could be anything. I think people are just kind of like finally like, okay, we're cool. We're done with all the fakeness.
Yeah.
Like we're done, because I'm personally over it. Like I'm like, oh, cool, monkeypox, whatever, man.
Is that a thing right now?
Yeah, there's like,
oh my God.
Well, like Bill Gates just put out a book talking about like saying that like preparing for the next pandemic. I'm like, prepare for yourself, bro. I'm like, get the hell out of here.
You know what's funny, bro? I was just celebrating my friend graduating college, and I posted on my story. I was out with a bunch of people and shit, and someone DMs me. They go, "Watch out for the monkeypox," and I'm thinking they're talking about coronavirus. Literally, I thought that's what they're talking about. I'm like, whatever, blew it off.
Yeah.
But every day there's a fucking new thing, bro. Fuck.
Well, I'm not going to get too conspiracy on it, but like all I'll say is there's a lot of stuff I think that like just doesn't feel right. Let's put it that way. Like when I get in my zone and then I hear certain things, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel natural. Right. I think there's a lot of unnatural things going on right now. And it just like doesn't. All I'm saying is like build up your ability to sustain yourself, build up. Because let's put it this way. If they shut us down like COVID again.
I don't see that happening, bro. I just can't see us like going and hiding again as like people.
Well, I think there's two scenarios, right? Either they because I'm going to tell you right now, I think like there's a high potential that like a new virus is going to come out that's going to be way worse than COVID, and we need to lock everyone. I feel like something along those lines is going to pop up. Either everyone is going to get locked down, and then they're going to start to implement things like, vaccine passports again, but like way more in depth, like kind of like how China does it. Or like there's going to be a fat revolution of like all the people with guns, and they're going to be like, y'all ain't telling me to do shit no more. And like, it's going to be, and I think at that point, a lot of the people who were on the opposite side of the spectrum of like, oh, we want more lockdowns, are going to be like, no, actually, we don't want that anymore.
Yeah.
But fear is a very powerful thing. And if I came to you and I'm like, hey, I'm an expert. I'm a professional in the medical field. And I'll tell you right now, if you leave your house, you will die. And if your neighbor leaves the house, they're going to possibly infect you and kill you and all your loved ones because they're not listening to us. That's like a powerful tool to be able to kind of control the reaction.
People are going to see their neighbor outside and fucking kill him.
Well, yeah, I
don't know if it's going to go that deep, but fuck.
I think this was real. I've seen it somewhere, but like there were rewards for reporting people leaving their house during quarantine.
Like the Gestapo?
Essentially, like you would be able to call the police and be like, hey, I saw my neighbor leave the house and go do something that wasn't permitted. And then they'll like legit give you a reward. So it's like, there's like, all I'm saying is like everyone needs to be able to find a way to be able to be sustainable by themselves. Like, if you have the ability to like manage to grow some fruits and vegetables, like learn to farm a little bit, like learn to grow food and like, like cultivate the land, learn how to, like be able to sustain, because if they do lock us down and like, look at it, man, inflation's going through the roof. There's all talk about food shortages. There's talk about soil depletion. And there's talk about like all of this stuff, like, like the price of everything and the limit of everything is going up. It's like, there could get to a point where it's like, oh, you don't get your daily ration. Like, shit's getting crazy, man. Like, all I'm saying, like, all I'm doing personally is like, saving my money, getting my mind set to the point where I'm going to move somewhere with a big chunk of land, get some chickens, plant some vegetables, plant some fruit, like be able to live
off the land.
I was watching some videos of these people. They've actually been living off the grid, like full on off the grid for like 14 years. I'm not saying I'm going to do this, but essentially they built a house out of like this mud. Like, and it doesn't look horrible. Obviously it looks like it's made out of mud, but like somehow they made it look really nice. But like they have, I think they call it like a food farm or food forest or something.
Are they Amish?
No, okay. But they have like a little plot. They have a little plot, and they did this all for like under $2,000. They like built a house out of mud. Wow. They have a little food forest that like essentially it's like composting itself, and it has fruits and vegetables. And like they're able to, like they said that like, yeah, if like we are able to live, like we would be able to live indefinitely, like by ourselves. And I think that is the ultimate freedom, because like, oh, let's say you get locked down and there's food shortages and there's no power and there's no water. It's like, oh, well, we got all that right here,
Yeah. I don't want to fight anyone over some fucking tissue paper, bro.
For real.
I mean, that's what I know that's the basic of it, but fuck, man. Like, I couldn't not imagine being on lockdown again. That was And then this time I would do it like by myself, right? Like I had someone with me the whole time, and like we were together, and it was a whole thing. But like, dude, I couldn't imagine coming home every day or being home every day. I mean, I guess I could play video games all day, but fuck, dude, like.
It gets to a certain point, Well, and that's like the thing. It's like if you're stuck inside and like you can't leave the house, it's like that's like a nightmare. It's like you don't have like a backyard or something, I don't know. All I know is like I do not like that, because growing up, you kind of get this idea of like, oh, I buy a house and then like I'm free because there's always going to be food and there's always going to be power and there's always going to be freedom and this and this and this. And then like now you're kind of seeing it's like, well, they literally were able to like lock us in, and like you look at China and you're like, oh my gosh. So like now it's like, okay, freedom isn't free. It's like if you really truly want freedom, you need to own your own land, And like what I was talking about on one of those little rants, it's like they're buying up all the houses and trying to get everyone to rent. Like there's a whole saying, I forget what it's a part of, but it's like, you will own nothing and be happy. It's like that's like a saying that people are saying is like the basis of what they want the world to be.
Yeah.
It's like you will rent a car, you will rent a home, you won't own anything, and you'll like it. It's like that's terrifying.
Scare me, Travis.
I know, right?
You're scaring
you
me,
go home,
man.
start looking. How much is a chicken? Like, cows for sale,
Dude, man.
Yeah, but that's my game plan. Me and my girl, like, she already started planting some stuff. We're about to plant like a little berry bush and stuff. I'm learning how to make topsoil, how to like accurately compost. You know, because that's the thing. If you can work, that's what the world is, man. It's like it's here for us to give back, right? Because that's the whole idea. It's like instead of like just taking and leaving, it's like if you cultivate the soil and you grow fruits and vegetables and then you compost and reinvest that, you know, biodegradable stuff back into the soil, it's like and then you're not paying someone, you're cultivating and growing the land, and then it brings more nature, and it's just like that's how it's supposed to be in a certain sense. Like obviously we're supposed to have like all of this other stuff, but like I don't know, man. It's a crazy world, and I think we all need to kind of, you know, start to take a little bit more ownership, because the idea that someone can come in and like be like, nope, sorry, bye, like that's not okay.
No, I agree. Yeah, that's terrifying. It's not fair, right? I mean, I think we already posted about what it is like in China for us to go there again, because I think they were already there, right? And then for them to be on it again was like, whoa.
Yeah.
You know, people were really, really desperate. So,
well, and that's the whole thing. It's like, well, nothing's worse than COVID. It's like, just you wait. They can make something. They could chop something up real quick, or they could at least say, that's the thing, right? It could not, they could come out, or something could come out, right?
It couldn't even be real.
It couldn't even be real. It could just be some fake shit, but they could say it is, and a huge portion of our population will believe it to be true.
Yep.
And like even people in the government say this all the time. It's like the hugest pusher of false information is the government. It's like they have a whole like history of covering stuff up, you know? So it's like they could easily come out and just be like, hey, this is the thing. And it sucks, but hella people will believe them. Yeah. And I think like through COVID, like when COVID first hit, I had hella faith in our government. I literally remember telling my girlfriend, like when it first hit, I was like, when they sent us like the stimulus checks and everything, I was like, you know what, for the first time ever, I felt like, you know, like I feel like this is, you know, like I have full faith in the government. Like obviously they're not going to let us just like stop entirely. And then like obviously time kept going on and on. I'm like, okay. And then like more information kept coming out, and like the cover ups and like all this stuff. I'm like, all right, man, like
this is bullshit.
Yeah, I'm done with y'all. Like for the people, my ass. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous.
I mean, I guess I'm on a different playing field, or I guess I obviously know the government doesn't have my best interest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it was nice to get those checks. I definitely, I was happy to get those.
You know, you had to pay them off in taxes, right?
What?
You didn't know that?
No.
So all those stimulus checks, bro, that wasn't free money. That was an advance in your tax return.
Oh, so they just took it out of my taxes.
They took it out of your, so let's say you get $1,000 in that stimulus check.
Yeah.
When you did your taxes,
I got no money back this time. Actually.
Exactly, because they gave it to you in stimulus checks. It wasn't free money. They didn't give you free money. They essentially gave you a loan that was paid off with your taxes.
Wow.
So it's like if you typed in, like, let's say you did your whole calculation.
So even though I'm fucking paying taxes and they're fucking taking a big portion of my check. Yeah, usually you get a little bit back.
Well, because that's the thing, bro. Let's say that you were supposed to get, you did all the calculations, and you're supposed to get $4,000 back, but you got $2,000 in stimulus checks. That's why you're supposed to enter in if you receive the stimulus checks. So if you're supposed to get $4,000 back, but you got $2,000 in stimulus, now you only get $2,000 back because they deducted the stimulus check, because they essentially just like, hey, we're gonna give you your future money now.
Shit.
Which is like, but that was my money in the first place.
I see why Wesley Snipes did what he did.
Yeah, bro.
That shit makes sense.
It's a slimy game, bro. It really is. And like, I love the benefits of like our culture and stuff in a certain sense, but like just that whole concept, man, like growing up and like owning a business now, like it's just not, you know, I want to be able to wake up and like know that everything is secure.
And enjoy the fruits of your labor, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you work fucking hard. Like, we all work hard for our money. We all fucking show up to work. We fucking spend more time at work than we do at home.
Yep.
And to feel like the government's taking damn near half of my money.
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
Yeah.
And I mean, what are you going to do about it? Go to jail for not paying them? Like,
Yeah.
fuck, man.
And then someone else is paying taxes to keep you in jail for not paying your taxes. And like, it's a cold game, man. It really is. And I think everyone just needs to really like learn to be self-sufficient. That is the ultimate goal. And like, this whole idea of like owning a home, that's the idea of self-sufficiency. It's like,
I'm
what,
fucked,
to
bro.
pay rent?
I'm going to tell you this. I'm fucked. I fucking, dude, I do not cook.
Yeah.
I don't cook at all.
Yeah.
Like, I don't cook, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I'll fucking put some shit in the oven,
Uh-huh.
microwave, or I'll go out and spend my money for motherfuckers that are professionals at cooking for other people.
Yeah.
That's how I live my life, and I'm fucked.
They got you, bro.
They got me, bro.
You better
They
hope you
fucking
live in
got
like
me.
live in a commune or something, like a little community center that there's a cook involved.
I just need to meet a girl that likes. I mean, I had that already. But you know what I'm saying. But then they complain about that, bro.
Yeah.
Fuck, you're never,
Yeah.
you're just
You're
never
never free, man. You're
satisfied.
never free.
Fuck.
Freedom ain't free.
Fucking life, man.
Yeah, bro.
At least I look great.
Facts. You get some, but you need to buy some chickens.
I know,
Get some
right?
chickens and get some seeds.
Dude. I need to get something, man.
Food's gonna be the new gold in the future.
Dude. Book of Eli.
Yeah. Well, that's why they're trying to make everything in factories, bro. They're trying to like, the Beyond Meat burger and all that nonsense, bro. So ridiculous.
Funny. I just saw this fucking thing on Instagram today where a dad and his daughter were taking a picture together in the mirror, right? They're taking a little selfie. And he's like, cheese. And the daughter's like, Dad, I can't say cheese. I'm vegan.
So ridiculous.
So then she
dude.
goes, lettuce. I
Yeah.
was like, oh my God, bro. This girl's fucking 8 years old.
That's wild, bro. That's what they're teaching. They got like vegan Mondays and vegetarian Fridays now and stuff. It's like meat isn't, and that's the whole thing, right? Like there's all these like studies. We'll wrap it up in a second, but there's all these studies where it's like, like meat is bad, meat, this is bad. But all those studies are done on highly processed, like grain meat.
Yeah.
You
like
know?
this cow comes from
Some
not treated
horrible
right.
farm that is fed all these horrible hormones and all this stuff.
Yeah.
That's why it's bad. They don't do the studies on like the pasture raised, grass fed, cage free,
course not.
organic. They don't do the studies on that because it would say it's like, oh yeah, that's great. And like the cows are like, fertilizing the land and it's like this beautiful harmonic.
Yeah. How it's supposed to be.
Yeah, exactly. But they don't do the studies on that.